in the camera, I'm looking at my gallery now, looking for photos and I'm going to edit. I know I'll be doing a before and after, so I'm going to choose before and after photos that have similar angles. So I'm going to be choosing this photo here for after and this photo here for before. They're the most in focus with the most similar angle. So I'm going to click on this photo, going to the triangle button at the bottom to share. This is when I select the program I'm going to edit it. I'm going to use Snapseed today. So it automatically opens up inside the program, going to Tools, Rotate, and I'm rotating the image so that it is across. I want it to be horizontal. And I hit the check mark to apply that. Going back into Tools, selecting the Crop tool. It's auto-selected for the square, which most things are square these days, but you can also choose other format measurements, but I'm going back to the square. Then I'm going to frame my image here. It's pretty tight. We're going to go there and hit the check mark for OK. Going back into the tools, going to do Tune Image. From here, we have options. We can change the brightness, the contrast, saturation, ambiance, highlights, shadows, and also change the warmth. I'm going back up to ambiance, and ambiance is kind of a general softening, gives it a bit of a glamour glow, but it also sort of brightens the image. So just know that when you make your selection for the ambiance, that it will slightly brighten your image. So I'm doing that a touch. I'm going to hit the check mark for OK to apply it. Back into Tools, I'm checking my Tune Image options again, making sure we have it as bright as we want. Okay, I don't want any more of these specific tools, so I'm going to choose X, Xing out of that, closing the program, closing that toolbox. Back into Tools, I'm going to choose Details this time. The details give you the option of changing the structure or sharpening the image. With sharpening, this is going to either make our lashes really crystal clear, or it'll soften them a little bit. So I'm going to choose to sharpen a touch just to make it look a little more in focus. And then I hit check mark for OK. Back into Tools, choosing Details again. This time, instead of sharpening, I'm going to do Structure. So Structure is going to kind of give blurred, soft edges to skin. You can make it really extreme and soft, or you can go the other direction and get really hard lines into those details. So where we started was back in 0. I'm going to change the structure just a little bit, just to slightly soften those edges, but I don't want it to be too artificial, so I'm still keeping it looking natural. So just a little bit of structure, maybe 25 points there. All right, then I'm choosing the check mark to apply these. Now we're back on the main screen of this program, and if we touch that image, it'll show you the original year before image, release, and here's our edits. Before, after, before, after. So it's still very natural, just making tiny little tweaks. The next thing I want to adjust, I'm going back into Tools, selecting the Brush tool, going to select Exposure, and here we can change how strong or how weak our exposure is. And what this does is it gives a brightness, makes the whites of the eyes brighter, makes it mucosa a little bit whiter and brighter, can kind of clean up some shadows. So we want the eyes to look nice and bright. So if we hit this button here, this eye button, when it's highlighted blue, it shows you where you have applied your exposure tool. And so now that I see where it's been applied, I see it's been evenly applied across the scleral of the eye. I'm going to tap back down to the eraser tool, and I'm going to erase over the iris. I don't want to change the color of her eyes at all. I just wanted to brighten up the whites of the eyes a little bit. So we hit the button, make sure we have it how we want it. Okay. And check mark to apply. That's our before, here's our after, looking pretty good. But let's say we want to get in here and just do a tiny little brow wax maybe. We can do that. We can go back into our tools, select healing, and the healing tool is going to duplicate the images, the pixels near it. So I'm going to zoom in really close, maybe look at some brow hairs that we might want to remove, and boom, there they go. So pretty cool tool, pretty slick. I don't want it to be incredibly altered image. I don't want it to be like very artificial. I just want to clean it up just slightly. So there we go. There is one here that's pretty close to the eyelashes, so I zoom in really close just so we don't change the eyelashes, just the skin. There we go. Hit the plus, the check mark to apply it. So now we're back in the beginning. So if we wanted to, we could probably take out the eyebrow here in the top, or we could leave it there if we wanted to. But again, touch it for before and after. Before, after. Makes a big difference. Okay, when we're satisfied with our image, we will hit the Done tool, and it will save, and it'll go back into our gallery, and now we're looking at the original image back in our main gallery. So go down here to select our before photo. We're going to select the share button, go back to Snapseed, and here we are again. We're going back into tools, rotating our image, selecting OK, back into tools, crop using the square. Now last time we did this, it was pretty tight in, so we want to replicate that same angle. We had just a little bit of our eyebrow showing, so we're going to try to replicate that as best we can. Okay, check mark. Pretty good. All right, go back into tools, tune the image, back to our ambiance. We were at 25 points last time. We'll do that again. So we're keeping it the same for our before and after image. Selecting OK. Go back into tools, hitting our details, softening our structure just a little bit. We don't want to go too extreme. So we're just going to soften it a bit. Go back to sharpening. That's going to pick up those details. Sharpen up those eyelashes a bit. Selecting OK. Back into tools, our brush, exposure. Get in here and do the whites of the eye. So right now it's at 0.03%. This is what it looks like at 0.7%. So you can see it's even brighter. And then here's 1%, so even brighter. So this is really burning that image. So I'm going to go back to 0.3 so it's more subtle. Slightly enhanced, hitting our view button, going back to the eraser, erasing underneath and kind of around where I don't want it to be so strong, and again over the iris and pupil, keeping the iris the same color. Okay, making sure we did get as much as we wanted here. And I might do a little bit stronger in the corners here where we've got some veins showing. Go back and see how that looks. Make it blurry. Okay. Better. So I'm going to check mark. We're back. And then let's do the eyebrow cleanup. So we'll go back to tools and healing. Zoom in close. And we will get some of those eyebrows up here. Again, not to make it artificial, but just so our image doesn't look distracting. I see that one left a yellow spot there, so I'm going to undo. Go back over here and do it softer. There. Whoops, that was a mistake. Big swoosh, so I'm going to undo that. I meant to zoom in and I accidentally just brushed that image. Okay. Couple more. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Maybe just slight cleanup on the inner here, ahead of the eyebrow. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to hit the check mark. I'm going to touch the image. We're back on the main screen. Now I'm going to touch the image for before and after. Before and after. Looks good. Now just to take a look, I just want to see what this looks like. I'm going back into the healing tool again. Let's just see what it looks like if we completely get rid of the eyebrows on the inner corner. Okay. I don't know if I like that. It is a little bit less distracting. If I X out of here, it will not save the changes, and there's our original. Okay, I'm going to select done. Saves the image. We're back into our gallery again. Here we go. And that is how you use the Snapseed app.